First, this is for the Institute of Mathematical Behavioral Sciences, and several of you have heard my comments about the Institute. Let me give you them again. What happens is the Institute is, as a formal institute, is 16 years old. It has been around 5 years before that as one of the other organized research units. You know, I've been here 9 years, and I still am not exactly sure what all these organized research units in the titles happen to be. But I do know we've had this institute for 16 years. For the first 5 years, and then the 5 years of the institute, Duncan Lewis is the founding director. And after that, Bill Batchelder was director, and I've been for the last 6 years. Let me tell you a little bit about what is the purpose of the institute. You know, what we have is for, a couple millennia, that's all. What we've had is a very nice, warm, close relationship between mathematics and physics. When there's been an advance in the physical area, what we have is the mathematicians have come in, try to see the new structures, try to explain the new structures, and make more sense of it, and make a theory of it. Then what has happened is the physical sciences, they come along and see the structure, and they are able to make an advance in physics. So we've had this very nice hand-in-hand relationship for at least a couple of millennia. Now let's talk about mathematics and the social sciences. We don't have that yet. In fact, I got this quote. I was reading last week a paper by Duncan Lewis on what was called what was the paper called? The Four Problems or something like that in psychology and mathematics? The Four Tensions in mathematical psychology. And one of the things he says is that the main devices used in the physical sciences for dealing with dynamics, differential, difference, and integral equations, have not so far proved well suited to most psychological problems. And I'll add to that, to most social science and behavioral science problems. It just plain isn't there. We don't know how to do it yet. In fact, it is only small portions of our theories purport to be dynamic in character. Most assume as static phenomena. An important issue is how to best increase the dynamic character of our models. I'll go beyond that. What we really need is some way of trying to understand how to use mathematics and to create this relationship between the mathematics and the social and behavioral sciences. It's quite clear, looking at this, coming from mathematical physics, that the mathematics of the physical sciences, or the mathematics as we know it today, probably is not quite adequate. It solves some problems, but there are a lot of problems where it does not. And so one of the goals of the Institute, as founded by Duncan, is to try to create an atmosphere where we can encourage, try to develop this mathematics of the social and behavioral sciences. And we have several people here who have played a big role in doing so, such as Sean Cloud, one of our speakers, Jack Devitt, who just walked in, and several others. And so one of the ways in which we do so is our goal is to have an interdisciplinary conferences. We do not want to have conferences where people are talking to each other as they have been for several years. What we want to do is have interdisciplinary conferences for many reasons. One of them is that if it's interdisciplinary, people have a tendency then to want to talk, not in details, what's my latest technical detail, but in terms of concepts. And that's when we have an exchange of ideas, and that's what we're trying to promote. And indeed, this conference on human and machine learning started at the first meeting of the IMBS this academic year, when Charlie Chubb and Jack Shin started talking in terms of, well, why don't we have one on machine and human learning? And Charlie Chubbs, of course, is in Cog Sci. Jack Shin is in mathematics. And Ford Smith, who's given us a lot of help on here, is in computer science. And we've had help from several others. In fact, anybody, as I walk down the hall and see, we got help from them on there. So learning is everywhere in the social sciences and the behavioral sciences, so this topic has clearly universal appeal. And one of the things I'm interested in goes back to Duncan's comment. Learning clearly is a dynamic. And so one of the things I'm hoping to understand is the dynamics which are associated with this from a viewpoint of a mathematician. In putting together this agenda, I was really surprised absolutely shocked, maybe dismayed, to discover how little research is currently being done in human learning. But what happens is there are people doing so, and if I got the right page, Jean-Claude Tamani showed me right here this diagram, and you don't have to see it. All you have to do is see it just going the precipitous drop in the number of papers that have been published since 1969, 70 until now in the area of human learning. I hope that changes. I hope we have something to do with that. So really, to get started here, I've asked Duncan Luce if he would share the first sessions.